So coming up, we have a gig as a cover band, and it'll be the first time I'm using the Chauvet Foot C2 DMX controller on stage. This gig, we have limited time to set up and limited space. So it works out pretty well that I can start with a pretty limited setup. I've got 6 fixtures here, and we are going to black these out. So there are 4 of the Chauvet Slim Par 64 RGB-A. It has red, green, blue, and amber LEDs. It runs in 4-channel or 8-channel mode. And in the back are 2 of the Slim Par 38s that we've shown off in other videos. So there are 6 fixtures here, and you might think, well, we've got 6 fixtures here. But I wanted to use some of the 8-channel mode features of the larger fixtures. So let's look at the map. It's actually the map that I showed in a previous video. But before we do that, I've labeled these fixtures on the back with a little letter. So the front lights are A and B, the side lights are C and D, and the rear wash lights are E and F. I've got them set up this way so you can see all 6 of them. Obviously, they would be set up differently on stage. But this allows me to see all 6 lights at the same time and see what different color combinations I'm working with. So this is the DMX map that we looked at last time. Here's A and B. Here's fixture C, fixture D, and then the 2 38s, E and F. Because I'm using 8-channel mode for all 4 of these Par 64s, their different channels bleed over. So the first 6 channels of the first bank plus the first 2 of the second bank control this light, and then the last 4 of the second bank and the first 4 of the third bank control this light. The D fixture starts on 19. Again, use 6 channels in the 4th bank, and then 2 channels in the 5th bank. These are unused. And then again, these are unused. And then the 6th bank, by pushing the fixture 6 button on the controller, the 6 knobs are RGB and then RGB. So I've set up A starting address 1. A and B are both starting address 1, so they'll have mirrored behavior. C is starting address 9, D is starting address 19, E is starting address 31, and F is starting address 34. And again, I labeled these on the back, so when I pull them out of the case, I don't need to power them up and see which starting address they go to. I just know when I pull out D, I know where to put it relative to the stage, and it's already going to be set up here, and I can just wire it up and not have to worry about which light is which, because all these 64s look the same. So we're playing 3 sets. Some of these songs might look familiar to you. We grew up in the 80s and 90s, so a lot of these are from that era. And then what I wanted to do was assign a scene to each song, primarily going up in number, and then defining the scenes over here and what I wanted them to be. One of the strategies was that scene number 1 would be the normal. I call it white/warm. It has a lot of orange in it because our band logo has orange. But for the most part, it's your standard lighting. What I ended up doing was taking this setting and doing it here at 6, doing it here at 11, and at 16, and at 21. These ones in yellow haven't been done yet, and we're going to program those today. Initially, I was going to program all of these and make a video out of it. It turned out to be a lot longer and more time-consuming than I had originally thought. So we're going to go through these scenes and then kind of see how they were assigned to each song. Song like just what I needed. It's starting with number 5 and then goes to 9. So I have to switch mid-song. Song Vampire, it starts with number 3. We've got a program chase, then it's going to go to a dead blackout. So for the most part, the songs are a single color. Fake Plastic Trees is going to start mellow, and then we'll go to this number 4 scene. And so I've got 2 chases already programmed. We'll look at that. 18 scenes are already programmed. And I took some notes over here. For each RGB value or DMX number, what did I actually put in there if I wanted to go back to it? And then for each of these that have different speeds, I put the actual DMX address value. So the speed was set to 185 for this particular one. And because of these features I wanted to have, I wanted to use the 8-channel mode. You can see here we haven't really picked a speed yet. We'll do that on the fly. All right, so we're going to come out of blackout. And this is what I'm calling the standard scene. You can see we're on scene 1. And you can see that A and B are kind of white. E and F are kind of white, and the C, D sides are orange. One thing that I wish this board could do would be to copy information. Because C and D are independently controlled, I had to set them up independently, and that's where I was getting exact numbers for the colors to get the same orange on both sides. I wish I could also copy scene 1 to scene 6 to scene 11. All of those standard scenes I want to be able to use throughout the show, you can't just copy. So that's why I use that Excel and those notes to get these values, jump up to scene 11, and then have to manually adjust and program all those again. So scene 1 we have here. It's kind of the standard one. And if you notice, we go up, nothing really happens. So that's good during a show. Oh, I need to be on scene 12. Oh, this is that sort of reddish, alternating reds and yellows back there. But if we go back to 1, it's kind of loud and crunchy. If we go into program mode, hold and press. So now, when we cycle through the scenes, you'll be able to see them without having to hit enter every single time. So this is a blue one. This one's got some fading. So, pulses up, comes back down on the sides, just for, a fun effect. This is more of a red. I called it scary, I think, in my list. We're playing low, and I think the vampire, we also have this red setup. 4, this is just yellow and purple. So the back is purple, the sides are yellow. 5 is alternating colors. This is sound mode. That's what it was. I have my list right in front of me. So for just what I needed, at the beginning is bum 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 bum. So it's going to change with the color, and then we're going to change to a different color after that. So if I want a side sound activated mode, I'll use number 5. And again, we can adjust the sensitivity. I can do this live as needed, depending on how loud we end up being. 6 is, again, the normal scene. I had to manually rebuild this, but the same as 1. 7 is what I call Americana. It's red, white, and blue. 8 is a front solo. So it's a warm, reddish, front lights only. This works for a couple different songs. 9 is just an orange with the orange in the back. So it's a lot more orange than our standard orange. 10 is more of a purple setting. 11, we're back to normal. This is a copy of 1, which is a copy of 6, so that I can use it throughout the show and not have to jump all the way back down to 1. 12 is more of a yellow and orange, alternating between the sides and the back. 13 is a dim. The sides are totally off, and the back is a very low blue. 14, this has a slow fade to it. It's slower than the other one. One thing I did notice is that even if you program the same DMX values, the exact same speed for a fade or whatever effect, strobe, you can see they're not tied together. They're not fading at the same time. They're fading at the same rate, but they're not fading together. So even if you have them on the same DMX channel, and we'll get to that, I don't know if I need to blame the board or the lights, but they are not in sync. So I just need to know that if it's critical they're in sync, that I can't do it this way. This is kind of our more colorful set with a faster fade. The fade value for this one on 15 is 230. So if we go back down to this one, this fade, the DMX value is 185. So that number applies to this kind of how quickly it comes up and down. When you change that fade number to 230, you get this speed, and 255 is very, very fast. 16 again is the normal performance mode with kind of orange sides. We have stark green for 17, and then here we get into the weird stuff. I have these set to the same speed, and it looks like it's going front, back, front, back, front, back. I apologize for flashing if that bothers folks. But let's go out of program mode just for a second here. We're going to go down, and now we have to hit enter. We're back to our start green. Let's check out this one again. Still kind of front, back, front, back. Yeah, they're not. They should be all synced at the same time, but they're not for whatever reason. And sometimes when I've done this, they've been completely desynced. This is its own kind of fun effect, but I wanted them to all pop at the same time, and they're not. So again, it's that kind of desyncing of effects that you're trying to time exactly doesn't work. Again, I'm not sure if it's the board or if it's the lights. So if we hit up, we go back to 1 because I don't have number 19 programmed. But let's do that now. So we're going to go to program mode, go all the way up to 19. I guess we could have gone down. That probably would have been faster. Okay, so 19. There's nothing here. So I've got a copy of the map here to make it easier for me. So I've got my cheat sheet off to the side here. And what I had for is what I call rising colors. So the lights will start off and come up in color and then turn off, come up in color and turn off. So A and B are together, and looking at this cheat sheet, what I do is I start on 7 and 8 and turn the modes off and the dimmer up. So that's fixture 2, 7 and 8. I want the dimmer all the way up. I don't want to do any, see, I can cycle through the modes if I wanted to, but we don't want that. We want modes off. So going back here, 6 is the speed, and we're going to figure that out. I think we'll just start there at a random value of 135, and then for the macro, we don't want macros. We want macros off, and I made a mistake. What we really want is a mode. We want the mode to be around 85, and mode would be this one. 85 gives us the pulse. So 85. And then we're going to just get a color kind of baked in there first. Let's turn all the LEDs on. Let's just do amber. Okay, so they're all working. Here's blue. So you can see now we're doing the falling. We're starting bright and we're coming down. This is what I was going for. And it's kind of slow. Bright and it's coming down. And these are colors. So let's just make these mostly blue. We're going to do pretty bright. I'll warm up just a little bit with the amber. Oop. I've noticed that it gets picky about trying to change the value. You can see I'm changing the amber value. It's not changing a great deal. So what I did was go over to the modes again. Just turn off the mode. I don't want a mode, and I don't want flashing speed either. So we turn speed off. So here, let's pick the color first. So what do we say? We don't want any red, we don't want any green, we want a lot of blue, and now I can incrementally add the amber to the color I want. So let's just do, we'll say that color. Now we'll go back to the mode, which is this. We want 85, which gives us that falling effect. It's in the 80s, so it should be falling. And then the speed we need to adjust again. And speed is number 6. So it's the fastest we can go. Bam, bam. That's too fast. I want a little slower. That might be too slow. Maybe 235, 240. Okay, sure. So that's going to do its thing. Now for going back to my cheat sheet, we want to do this one. I'm going to go over to the third bank first and put the mode on to 85. I want to do the same thing. So we have to go over to the third bank, and here these do nothing. They're kind of unassigned. This is the dimmer. We'll turn it all the way up just in case. And maybe I won't do mode yet. We're going to pick a random speed. We don't want a macro. Macro should be doing something. Yep, macro's doing its thing over there. We'll turn that off. And macro speed, and then the mode is going to be the third one. We're going to turn that off for now. We're going to pick the color first. So again, going back to my cheat sheet, second bank, it's the last 4. So if we want it to be, say, red, let's see, now it's still flashing. So let's just pick lots of red and nothing else. So all red, and then we'll go back here to our mode, which would be the 4th one. This is, we want to be around 85. Nope. third one is the mode. There we go, 85. So now it's falling. Very slowly it's falling. Maybe we like it that slow. So this speed, we go back to speed, is this knob. This should speed it up. Yep. So let's go, I don't know, 150? Let's say 150. And I'm going to write that down over here so I don't forget. We did speed 150. I want to do something similar for this light. So we're going to start with the 5th bank. And we're going to go to mode 85. So that would be the 2nd knob. I'm going to go down to 85. That gets us the falling effect. And the dimmer, or the mode. Sorry, it's the first one is mode. This would be 85. And we'll turn the dimmer all the way up just in case. Go back to bank 4. Let's pick a color. Let's just go with green because we like green, and turn everything else off. Turn the amber off. And then we don't want a macro, or these are modes, sorry. No, these are macros. We don't want macros. Turn macro off. And then the speed needs to be something. Now we'll go back to mode. Oops, got to actually control the channel here. All right, so now we're should be falling. Not sure why the color changed. I may have messed up something there. Let's double check that. We're in the 4th bank. Oh, because I'm adjusting the color. I'm in the wrong bank. Shame on me. This is the mode that we want to be around 85 for falling. And dimmer is fine. Let's go back to 4. I messed up the color. We don't want red. We want green. We don't want blue. We don't want amber. We don't want a macro. So now it's the speed. Again, we could crank this up, get something crazy. And we wrote down 150 before. I'm going to write down 150 so it sort of matches the one on the left, knowing that they may not sync up when I click the button. 151. Again, it's hard to get an exact number. Since we know they're not going to sync up exactly, we'll just keep it at 152. And to keep what I've done so far, I'm just going to program this, kind of lock it in. So now we've got some weird falling and colors. And if we want to do something with the back, again, these 3 would be the E light. This would be the F light. You know, we can do some red. We can do a little bit of green. Maybe what we just do is, I like having just a little bit of purple and a little bit of purple. So those should match. It's a little purplish back there. It's not super bright. And this is just, I call it weird falling colors. Is what I said. We'll program that. Next, let's go over to the chases. So let's turn this off. I'm going to get out of programming mode. And if I hit enter, it should bring that right back up. Oh, we're on 1. So if we go down to 19, that's where we were. Okay, perfect. So let's just go back up to 1 to save our eyeballs. So let's go to chases. If we go to mode, again, nothing happens. It shows us that chase 1 has 3 steps, and we can cycle between the chases that are in here. There really should only be 2 in here. Oh, we're in scenes that jump back. Again, that's that thing. So mode, chase. Should just cycle between, it's going through a bunch. There's only 2 chases programmed in here, but let's go to chase 1 and hit enter. So again, this is front lights, back lights, rear lights, just cycling. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And we can do that thing again where we can change the speed and watch it in real time. To me, that's a pretty drastic drop in speed between the 2. But for this time being, we'll do it frantic. And again, with the fade set to 0, it's snappy. And with 1, even with fade 1, something that fast, they're just kind of blinking. I wish there was more granularity to this. We'll keep it at this. And then chase 2 is kind of alternating between the 4 backlights, between purples, yellow, purple, yellow, just going around in a circle. So what I want to do is create a 3rd chase where basically the front lights are still off and the 4 lights are all the same color. The C, D, E, and F are roughly the same color, and we're cycling off just one of them. So 3 lights will be off and 1 light will be on. So let's get into programming mode. And we're going to go up. Nope, get out of program mode. Now we're in chase 3. We can program chase Oh, it left me here. Let's go up to 3, program. So now we're in chase 3, and there's something in here. I'm just going to delete everything that's in this. Whoop, I was on chase 2 again.
2 hours later.
I had to go back to the manual. Now we're in chase 3 where I want to be. Whew, okay, so the first one we want basically, we're not going to touch the A and B lights. We'll start with C. So again, going back to my cheat sheet. C, we go to the third bank, and we don't want any macros. And where's our dimmer? This is our dimmer. We want a dimmer all the way up. And our mode is going to be RGB, which is 0, and our speed is going to be non-existent. So now if we go back to here, we should be able to start dialing a color. And we're going to go just hard purple. And then for our D fixture, we will start with 5, which is here. The mode's in the dimmer. We want the dimmer up. We want the mode off. And then we'll go back over here. We want red, and all blue, purple. And then we can go over to our E and F, all red, and then all blue, and then all red, and all blue. So here we have them all on, but I wanted the first step for it to be off. So we'll start with, I wanted one of them to be off for the chase. So let's go back to the first light and turn off the colors. Why is that not changing? We're in step 1. I don't want red or green or blue. Oh, fixture 1 is A and B. So I thought my mistake. I need to go over to the second bank and turn off the red and the blue. All right, so now we have the first step of the chase. Let's hit program. Okay, so I want that red and blue back. And then I want to turn off the E light, which would be this one. No red, no blue. So there's the gap. That's our next step in the chase. This next one's going to be pretty easy. We want the all red and the blue back. We want no red and no blue. That should be off, right? I can kind of see the lights from where I'm sitting. We're going to program that. And then for the fourth step, turn this back on, turn this back on. We need to go, again, checking our cheat sheet for the D light. It's the third bank, and here are the colors. So we'll go back to the, sorry, it's the fourth bank. And this should be our red, and this is our blue. So now that's off, and add it, and get out of program mode. And they should cycle which light is off. So it's mostly on with a little off. And then let's just change the speed on this one just so we can see it a little better. That we've got this gap that kind of runs around the ring. And we'll just go back to our standard scene here. So we'll see how this gig goes. I'll report back and see what happened with the gig. One thing I did notice is that we have some break between sets. So if I wanted to adjust the fade or speed timings, I could run over to the board and do that between the different sets that we have. Another thing we're looking at is the MIDI input. You can change your chase and scene fade time and the chase time as well with MIDI instructions. And our keyboard player is doing things with laptops, so we might actually resynchronize this controller with his MIDI output. And he can change the scenes and he can change the speeds of all those things instantly, which would be a lot easier than me having to step on them. And I could program it way ahead of time and he could just plug into it and do all the talking. But we'll see how it goes. Hope you enjoyed.